Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince!
And it's time once again
to recommend some stuff.
Vince, we're at my house.
We are.
Yes, indeed.
That's a place that I do not live.
That's why you don't see all the Two-Face stuff behind us. I just thought I'd throw that out there. Anyway, what do you have to recommend today, Vince?
I am recommending a book, an Australian book, actually. I'm recommending Peter Carey's True History of the Kelly Gang.
Wow, a lot of Australian pop culture going on this show.
Now, what's really I took an Australian literature course, a modern Australian literature course when I was I was going to KU, and this was one of the books that he had us read, and I loved it. It was great, and when I say that, it's written in sort of this halfway broken English, and you know, it's sort of written. It is written in a character voice, and it's interesting to see a guy who doesn't necessarily have a firm grasp of proper English grammar still have prose that's understandable and clear and concise, and pulls you in. It says, "Hey, come read me. I am an interesting, potentially friendly type of guy."
Okay, so you're not saying that the author doesn't have a grasp on it. You're saying
no, the author knows what he's doing.
Okay, sure, of course.
It's written in the character's voice, and what's
reminds me of Mice and Men.
I never actually read of Mice and Men.
Oh, okay.
But I know what you're talking about.
Not my favorite thing, but it's related to what you just said. Go ahead.
I read a couple chapters, and yeah, it was okay. Anyway.
It's depressing. Go ahead.
Yeah, because men turn into mice.
No, what you just...
But True History of the Kelly Gang, it's not necessarily true. It's just a title. In fact, Peter Carey says that he tries to use as much fact as he can, but when he gets right down to it, Kelly, oh my goodness, I forgot his name. Ned Kelly. Yeah, Ned Kelly. It's been at least 2 years since I've read this book. Ned Kelly, he's more of a legend than he is a man. So it's sort of the Liberty Balance type of thing. When the legend becomes more famous than the man, you print the legend. So I'm paraphrasing, but the legend's what people go to read. The legend's what people care about. So this makes Ned Kelly a very human person, and it's a book. This is not like a Western set in Australia. This is literary fiction. This is a guy who literally from a very young age. In fact, I think the first chapter was labeled like Ned Kelly's life until 12 years of age. His life until the age of 12, and it goes all the way until he does the thing that makes him famous, which, for those of you who don't know, he makes a suit of armor, and he's practically invulnerable. Well, not really, but he tries. And I think this is really interesting. I mean, you see this guy go through things like he even tries boxing for a while. It's a guy who just has a really hard life and just keeps on trying, and it's interesting to me. And I don't have a lot to say about it because I find it charming in an offbeat way. You don't necessarily like Ned Kelly, but the entire time you want to like him because he just keeps scrapping, he keeps trying. Yeah, I'm done.
Today I'm going to be recommending a volume of H.G. Wells novels. This is H.G. Wells, 7 novels. This is an edition from Barnes & Noble. Really just one of the prettiest books I own now. I love what they're doing with these. And I'm recommending this specifically because A, it's one I have, and B, I love H.G. Wells. But I'm mostly recommending this to say if you've got a Barnes & Noble locally, or you want to go on BarnesandNoble.com or whatever and look these up, they've been doing a lot of these. This is an in-house thing they do. Barnes & Noble does this themselves, and then they put it in their store. And they have these wonderfully glossy pages. Well, I mean, they're glossy on the outside, and of course they're regular pages. But I mean, like these fantastic glossy pages on the outside, and then just love what they've done with the cover. This doesn't have a dust jacket. This is just what the book looks like. It's really cool.
That's pretty neat.
And they put this out for they put out things like this for lots of stuff. They don't all look the same. And naturally, I mean, they gave this a purple cover. They're trying to make it all look all futuristic and science fiction because it's H.G. Wells. And but there are others like there's an Anne Rice one that is creepy looking, blood red. I mean, they're really cool about how they're putting these out. And well, I don't want to mention that. I was gonna say something. I bought one of these for somebody for Christmas. I don't know. I don't want to say who. But
one of those Barnes and Noble collected editions.
Yes, of something else. Anyway, I was gonna. But these are all really great. So anyway, the 7 novels that you get. I mean, you pop this up. That's cool.
Yeah. It's only $20, right?
$20, and that's how all these are. And so in this you get the Time Machine, you get Island of Dr. Moreau, you get Invisible Man, War of the Worlds, First Men in the Moon, which I've never read, Food of the Gods, which I've also not read, and In the Days of the Comet. I love Invisible Man. I like War of the Worlds, although it's, I mean, if you've never read the original book, I mean, I'm not talking about just the radio play, because of course it's obviously condensed. It's very much based on it, but it's, you know, well, actually, I mean, it's set in then present days. Actually, it's very changed, but it's kind of slow. I mean, it's one of if not the first major alien invasion stories. I mean, it's slow, and of course, Time Machine is just super fascinating, and Invisible Man is arguably. I don't want to get in trouble when I say this. It's arguably among some scholars the first science fiction novel. Now that's really debatable, super debatable. Nobody can. You know, there's a lot of people that jump back and forth. In fact, what's funny is sometimes you'll have some people that will say actually the War of the Worlds is the first, which is amusing because it's the same author. But Invisible Man, in my mind, is still technically a science fiction book because it's technology that makes the guy invisible. You know what I mean? And people will point to things before this that a lot of us don't consider to be necessarily straight hard science fiction because there's not much to the actual science. Like you know, Jules Verne is really borderline because he'll talk a lot about science, but then how you get there is not explained at all. So anyway. I'm not going to talk a lot more about the books themselves. Classics, everybody should read Wells. At least the 3 big ones that I mentioned. Everybody should read Invisible Man, War of the Worlds, and Time Machine at some point. If you read no other Wells ever, you need to read those 3. Invisible Man's kind of short, so start there. But anyway, that's what I recommend. Yes, indeed.
Sweet.
So, you have anything else to add of anything?
Read Australian literature. It's quite good.
You know, when you were taking that class, I was so surprised there was an Australian literature course.
The guy ran it like it was sort of like a book club, and the man did it really well. I couldn't believe that the teacher would step up to class and he would just pull these things off the top of his head, and he would just analyze the book while he's standing there at his podium, and he says, I don't know if any of this stuff even makes sense. I'm like, no, my God, how did you break it down standing there in front of us? Well, I can tell you how. It's because he's a huge fan of all Australian things. So if there's anybody that was going to teach a course like that, it would be that guy.
That's the class that you talked about the most when you were taking it. I mean, like, you seem to be just having such a good time in that course.
I had to take lots of early British literature and modern American literature. And, it was so tedious. But this was fantastic. It was so much fun. Even the book I hated, I still enjoyed reading it for that class.
Well, thanks a lot for watching us recommend things. We'll recommend something for you once again next week. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince.
See you next time.